Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to work on the single product page. So if you click on one of these products, nothing is going to happen. And of course we don't want that. We want to display, if user clicks on a product, we want to display the product in a single page and display information about that product and how to add that product to the cart and so many different things about that specific product that the user is interested in. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to open my project and then I'm going to create a new file. Here I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to click on this icon and then I'm going to create a new file called single product single_product.html. And since the single product.html will have the footer and header, it will have the navbar and the footer. We need to copy the footer and the navbar from the index or from the shop. Let's copy them from the index. So I'm going to open up the index, and in the index here, I'm going to start copying from the beginning here all the way to the body, first to the body, and then I'm going to paste it in the single product.html. Then we need to copy the lower part, which is these 3 lines. I'm going to copy these 3 lines, and then I'm going to paste them here. I'm going to paste them here. Okay, you need to give yourself some space here and then paste that code here. Now we need to display the navigation bar. So I'm going to again head on over back to the index, and then I'm going to scroll up. So I'm going to scroll up and then I'm going to close this navigation bar, and then I'm going to copy this navigation bar. I'm going to copy it and then I'm going to paste it in the single product.html. I'm going to paste it here. And then I'm going to close it one more time because we don't want to confuse ourselves. And then I'm going to copy the footer as well. So from the index, if you scroll down, you should find that we have the footer. So I'm going to copy the footer as well. And then I'm going to paste the footer below the navigation bar, but you need to leave here space because we need to add code here. So I'm going to here give myself some space, and then I'm going to paste the footer. And then I'm going to close the footer as well. I'm going to close here this footer. So now we have the navigation bar and we have the footer. Let me click on File and then Save All. And let's test that in the browser. So now in the browser I'm going to go to the single underscore product.html. And then I'm going to hit enter, and as you can see, we have the navigation bar as well as the footer. Now we need to work on the content. So the content will contain a single image with all its information. So the design is going to be like this. On the left side, I'm going to display the product image, and on the right side, I'm going to display information about the product, as well as a button to add to cart, and the quantity, and also the price. All of these things on the right side. So images will be on the left side, whereas information will be on the right side. So let's work on the design. So here in the single product.html, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a new section here. I'm going to say here section. And then I'm going to give this section a class. I'm going to say here class, and that class is going to be single product, and I'm going to also give it margin Y, margin top and bottom 5, and also margin also padding top 5. And inside that section, we want to divide the page into 2 columns. Therefore, I'm going to say here div, and then for this div, I'm going to give it the row class because we want to divide the page into 2 columns. And I'm going to also give this div a margin top 5. And inside this div, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create another div. I'm going to say here div. And this div will contain the image on the left side. So I'm gonna first give this div a class, and that class is gonna be column large 5 because we want it to take 5 out of 12 columns for large screens. For medium screens, I'm gonna let this take 6 out of 12. For small screens, I'm gonna give it 12 columns. That's it. Now inside this div, we want to display the image. So I'm gonna say image, and then for this image, I'm gonna say source. And let's use one of the images that we already have. I'm gonna say assets, images. Let's use the featured one. And then I'm gonna give this image a class. I'm gonna say here class. First, I'm gonna give it the image fluid, which is gonna make the image responsive. I'm gonna also give it a width 100%, 100 with 100%, so that it takes the complete parent size. Also, I'm gonna give it padding bottom. I'm gonna say PB1, padding bottom 1. And let me here save, and let me head on over to the browser and test. So now if I refresh, as you can see, we have this image. But of course we need to work on the design further because I want to display the image. I want to make this image smaller. But before I work on this, let's work on the small images because I'm going to be displaying the varieties of that product. So below this image, I'm going to display small images that represent the different varieties of that product. So below this div, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create another div, but it must be inside this div. It must be here. Actually below the image, not below the div, because we want the images to be displayed below this image, not below the div itself. So below the image, I'm going to say div, and then I'm going to give this div a class, and that class is going to be, I'm going to name it small image group. And for this small image group, I'm going to also create another div inside it, and I'm going to give this image also another class called small image column. And I'm going to display inside it one image. I'm going to say here image. And I'm going to give it here a source. And let's use one of the images that we already have. I'm going to say assets, images, featured to.jpg. And I'm going to also give it a width. I'm going to say width 100%. And I'm going to give it a class called small image. Let me save and let me head on over to the browser and test. So in the browser now, as you can see, we will have one image. Let's now display other images. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to copy this section, this div. I'm going to copy this div, and I'm going to paste it 4 times. I'm going to copy this, and inside the same div here below this, I'm going to paste it 1, 2, 3. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4. We should have 4 divs like this. Now let me change the images. So I'm going to say here featured 1, and then featured 2, and then featured 3, and then featured 4, and then here featured, let's use another image. Let me use the clothes one. Let me now save, and let me head on over to the browser and refresh, and we should have now other images. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we have all of these images. Of course, we need to display these images below the product, the product that we want to display as varieties of that product. So they must be displayed here in small containers. So let's work on this. So in order to work on this, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create CSS classes. Therefore, I'm going to head on over to the CSS here, CSS, style.css, and then in the style, let's work on this. So I'm going to scroll to the bottom, and then let's work on this. So here I'm going to say small image group, and for the small image group, I'm going to remember this small image group is this one. It represents this small image group. It represents the div that contains all of the small images. So for this, we need to give it a display flex. And we need also to give it justify content space between. Let me save and let me show you what this is gonna do. So if I refresh now, as you can see, these images will be small, but they don't have the same sizes, so we need to fix their sizes. Therefore, I'm gonna work on the other class, which is the small image column. Remember, here in the single product, for each image, I have given each image a class called small image col. So here, in order to make all images have the same exact width and height, we need to say flex basis 24% or 25. And let's also give it cursor. It means that the image is going to be clickable. Let me now save and refresh. And as you can see, all of the images will have the same exact width and height. You might find some images a little bigger than others, and the reason is because some images are originally bigger in terms of the size than others. This is why I have always been telling you that you need to make sure that all of your images, all of your product images, have the same exact size. Otherwise, you will, even if you try to resize them using CSS, some images, because they are originally small, they will not look they will not fill the complete container. This is the only problem that we will have.